Hey guys, so Bitcoin pushes back up to resistance. We have a blue cartoon character who exits scams on Twitter, institutional money pouring into Bitcoin, and the latest in our charts. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Breaking Bitcoin.
Hi, this is Brian Kerr from Kava Labs. You are watching Breaking Bitcoin.
Yes, you are watching Breaking Bitcoin. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Breaking Bitcoin, brought to you by your host, Justin Wise, lead analyst and senior mentor at KrakenCryptocurrency.com. Hopefully you guys are doing absolutely fantastic wherever you happen to be tuning in from, and wherever you are in this wide world. Today is October 13th, 2020. It is good to be back in the studio, not over to the new house yet, with the studio anyways, but making good progress over there and keeping the studio just nice and tight where it is. We do have a couple upgrades. We do have the Corsair mousepad as recommended by Mr. Azriel, although not quite the one he recommended, but we decided to go with the Corsair, and we have the new Corsair RGB keyboard, so keeping things a little bit mobile on the fly. Hopefully you guys are doing fantastic. I see everybody in the chat. I see Mr. Hut QC, Midwest Attempts, Crypto Rick, Mike is not on fire yet, David Rice, Ali, we see Philip from Manchester, and Dan. Thank you guys so much, and thank you, by the way, for all the recent support from Shift Happens, Rory Morin, and Boz Hadar, our recent members here on YouTube. All right, before we get started, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, or sarcastic remarks, put them in the chat. Moderators will help you out. They will direct my attention to the chat so that I can answer the questions. We're going to start off as I have the little thing down there in the bottom intro. Then we'll do some analysis. It should be news and then chat engagement, and then we'll come back to a tutorial or Q&A, whatever you guys have on your minds. So with that being said, let's hop right into the live scene and start off today's show with this. Oh, sudden switch of the transition scenes. How do you guys like that? I got to keep you guessing. All right, just want to remind you guys, if you guys have any questions about any of the services that we offer, anything that we do, you guys can go to KrakenCryptocurrency.com. You all our offerings, including the premium trading group, our premium indicator suite, or our online trading academy. With that being said, all right, back into Bitcoin. I wanted to focus on a couple of things. So starting off as we normally do, I wanted to pull up the weekly chart because it's been a few days. It's been about, let's see, Tuesday and Wednesday show I did on the road, and so it's been a little under a week. It's Tuesday right now, so yeah, it's been about a week. About a week since last we touched on where we are in the market, and we've had about 7 days of price pushing up to the upside, so pretty good to talk on that, especially as we get into the daily when you guys see where we're at, which is an interesting area. So pretty much right where we thought we would be about a week ago. And I want to thank the guys for keeping everything updated. Yesterday was a terrific show. If you guys didn't get a chance to watch yesterday's show, highly recommend watching that because I enjoyed it. All right, so on the weekly chart of Bitcoin here, just looking at our trending indicators, something very simple, looking at our exponential moving averages, which we've been looking at lately. We do see that technically we are in a bullish trend. Why? Because we're above the 55. The 13 EMA is above the 55 on the weekly as well, which is a good indicator of are we in a bullish or bearish trend. But we can see that we are moving up out of the consolidation band of the exponential moving averages that we talked about when price is trading within an exponential moving average. Or any moving average. What is the second word of moving average? Average, it's the average of price, meaning price is trading at an average price. At least here on the weekly, it was for about a month and a half, almost 2 months here, just going back. And now finally, last week's bullish close has kind of pushed us above that band. Then into this, in between these two red lines that I had marked out on the chart, point of control, Alex would say, and certainly any volume profile chart would say that this is the point of control. Just overall, the previous consolidation area that we were at when we were up here in August is where we've pushed back up to after making our first kind of not yet confirmed lower high, which would be bearish to see. So if this does fail right here and we do put in a lower high, this could be considered a swing failure pattern, or this could just be considered a lower high when previously we've been experiencing higher highs and higher lows. When we shift into a bearish trend, it would be lower highs and lower lows. So that's the most basic market structure definition. Paul Bob the Builder, thank you so much for the $5, my friend. He says, the man, the myth, the legend, Justin Wise. Highly appreciated. Yeah, so if we bring back my daughter, she pretty much nailed the buy signal. I asked her if she thought price was going to go up or go down. She did say price was going to go up if I do recall. Vitality Inbound says, thank you so for everything you guys do. I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. All right, so weekly time frame is the main takeaways that I want to get from this is Parallax flipping back up into the bullishness here. Is price trading above the exponential moving averages. Minx actually giving that confirmed continuation crossover on the weekly time frame. And Wadatar explosion actually starting to pick up and giving us a rising explosion level for the first time since back in August, actually, before we saw that decline to the downside. So all of this I wouldn't trade off of, but the signs that I do like to see here are overall to see that price is above the 55, to see the price is pushing up above the EMAs, to see that the EMAs are still trending to the upside, the continuation cross and parallax. So there's a lot of decent signs here for a continuation long. I'm not going to be mad at anybody who puts on a continuation long here, something to protect their hedge short. Now, if it's set up the right way, if you hedge properly, just move into USDT, then you don't have any downside risk except for the fact of opportunity loss when you do buy back into Bitcoin. And that's honestly the strategy that I recommend, is that people move into Tether nowadays instead of actually trying to put on a short like I do. Because the reason why is because it's difficult to do. It's not simple to do. And I've tried to teach a lot of different people how to do this, and a lot of people do it successfully. But as a matter of course, I don't recommend that people put on hedges anymore. I recommend that people move into USDT. And this is exactly the area where I would do it on the weekly time frame as well. However, if one wanted to pick up, a smaller long position to kind of hedge that exposure, which they're already doing if they have the hedge short on. Because remember, if you hold the Bitcoin and you have a short on as a hedge, then all you need to do is drop your hedge. You don't actually need to put on a long. If you're sitting on the USDT perpetual contract, though, on Bybit, what you can do at a position like this is go 50-50 or do some kind of straddled, some kind of straddled call, basically. I don't want to actually reference options calls because I don't want people to rush into options unless they know how to do options quite well, but something of that nature here. So that's kind of interesting things to point out on the weekly. If we do end up getting another weekly close above this red line territory, so about 11,600, as I said, this would be the area where you would have to probably by default start putting on longs so that you don't miss the train. However, I'm still pretty cautious here. I still have my hedge on, and there's really nothing else that I want to do in this area, and I'll point out why specifically here on the daily. So let's get to the daily over here and look at our reversal indicators. Do we see signs of a potential reversal? Well, I wish that TD would, plot our TDST lines. That's what I would really like right here. So looking at our reversal indicators, we see the bottom feeder has pretty much nailed every dip of Bitcoin's consolidation over the past month. Nailed this buy signal here, nailed this buy here, nailed this buy here, and even nailed the last one that culminated in this March up. As I said, we've had about 7 days to the upside here. Looking at where we're at right now with yesterday's doji and today's so far inside bar, Harami, but again, not completed yet. The daily isn't closed yet. The only things that I see here are a perfected 9 count on TD sequential, and ISOspot being oversold here. So this is not an area where I would want to go long on the daily. If I did want to play that weekly continuation, I would like to see price pull back here a little bit. As Tone Vase would say, since we've had a perfected 9, or we're going to close a perfected 9, 2 to 4 days of consolidation or downside is what we should expect moving forward for Bitcoin. So if one did want to pick up a long position, if that was within one strategy or one was more optimally bullish on this, then I would say certainly not today is the day to do it. You've got 1 to 3 days to pick up a more optimum price would be the more strategic entry. All right. PTP is fairly simple here. If one was looking at PTP, this is the other reason, at least this, again, that's kind of like saying Christianity supports a motive when it's only one church. Again, this is just a particular implementation of PTP that we've shown on stream, which is a do-it-yourself pathway to building your own consistently profitable strategy. This would have called for a long on the 11th. So on the candle close of the 11th, one would have been able to pick up a long position. And let's use the replay mode to see what our metrics for that trade would have been as well. Here we go. And pulling up Quadrigo. All right, that would have pitted one for a long with an initial take profit of 11,677, stop loss at 10,946, which I quite like, which we'll reference the EMAs here. And again, kind of playing into that potential Adam and Eve bottom here. But again, the overall things that overall strategy as far as what I'm doing is consistently the same thing here. This is the area that I said if one didn't have a hedge on, one should wait till price got back up to these areas. So in my opinion, this is still the optimal hedging area, especially because we have the election coming up, especially because nothing has really sated my concern that we are going to have another wave of lockdowns. Now, as we move, as we get into November, especially post-election, that might mitigate or go away. There seems to be a lot of positivity right now, but I'm not not really sold by that positivity, right? Because I haven't seen anything consistent in the market to change any of that. If I was long and in good profit, I would close my position and put a hedge on. That's what I would do. So as I said, very consistently, this was the area that I hedged at. Prices returned slightly below that area, so my hedge is actually still in profit. Big shout out to Jason, by the way, because I was talking to him during our morning meeting today, and he put his hedge on just like a tick under 11,700. That's pretty legendary. Good job. I see Tree Monet asking what indicator this is for the buys. This is bottom feeder right here. If this is the one you're referring to, this is one of our algorithmic strategies that we run, CC bottom feeder 1.1. And T-Dub saying everybody above ground is a good day. Yeah, it's always a good day to not be 6 feet deep in the clay. I will say. Yeah, I'm agree with T-Dubs there. Yeah, if I was in a long that was profitable right here, coming off a perfected 9, coming back up to our previous consolidation area, coming back up to resistance, being overextended on the daily with ISIS spot, this would definitely be a profit-taking area for me. Now, if you want to leave 20 to 30% of that position to run for potential profit-taking, that's absolutely fine. Just like, I'm not upset with anybody that's putting on longs in this area based off that based off those weekly continuations. But if they're doing it today, then they're kind of missing the boat. They're about 3 days behind, about 2 days behind on a proper PTP signal, anyways, from this particular PTP implementation, and they're 2 days behind, anyways, on taking the weekly trade. So they should have taken it at the weekly close. So looking at the daily and seeing that we're overextended here to the upside, I think it's very logical to say, well, if I was going to take a long, it wouldn't be right now. I want to see more of a pullback. I want to see price come down. Which is also interesting to correlate that with this PTP signal, because if we look at where price is roughly on today's pullback, it's not too far away. Let's bring that PTP back up. It's not too far away. Actually, it's almost dead on with the entry price that one would have gotten on the close of October the 11th. So again, not a whole lot of any kind of no misgivings on anybody who's picking up along at this area. I still feel fairly strongly that better prices can be had. And just to break this down, so it's pretty simple. We have QQE mod here acting as an initiator. We see that the blue line, is up, and we do have blue volume bars crossing over the QQE line. That occurred actually for the first time on the 8th of August. That would have been kind of our first initial entry signal. Crossing over super trend didn't happen until the 11th. So we had the MACD leader stayed in the positive as a confirmer, and our OBV oscillator from Lazy Bear acting as a vol filter here actually flipped positive on the 9th of October as well. Looking at IFT RSI as an exit indicator, it is not indicated for any exits here for any long position, except for the long position that it indicated back on the 22nd of September on this candle right here. Told one to get out of longs, but it didn't really actually signal for any longs. So it's just a warning that price was overextended to the upside. Interestingly enough, though, IFT RSI works pretty decent. A lot of people use, I think this idea comes from JP at, what the heck's the name of his channel? No Nonsense Forex. He talks about using the Williams R percentile as an initiator, where he only puts on trades when it goes overbought. You can use the IFT RSI the same way if you really go back and kind of study it, but it's just going to be a little slower. You might want to adjust your settings if you're going to be using it for that purpose, maybe bringing it down to like a 5 and 4 instead of a 5 and 9 like the default for IFT RSI. But otherwise, it's a pretty good, especially for long daily trends. Hold on, it's monster time. Especially for long daily trends, it does fantastic as an exit indicator. It doesn't get you out the earliest, but it certainly gets you out when the trend is done, right? So if you were kind of looking at it as an ultimate or a penultimate exit indicator, certainly IFT RSI is strong in my book. That's why I'm using it for this system. All right. It's hot in the studio today. It's always hot in here. All right, so Bitcoin's fairly simple here. As far as the weekly and daily charts go, I would expect a pullback. This is an excellent area to put on hedges. This is an excellent area to add to hedges or to take profits off any bottom scraping longs that were put on, particularly if they were put on with the bottom feeder indicator. And overall, I'd like to just wait here and see what happens, because we could continue to push up, which makes a long make more sense here. Or this is going to be the lower high, in which case you don't really want to be putting too much capital or money in here. So there's really no shame if you're hedged, if you're just in a protected position, if you're in USDT, or if you're just comfortable sitting in Bitcoin and Ethereum to really do nothing, right? As I've said for quite a while, and I think people don't like hearing this, but this is the truth. There are areas of the market that are just more difficult than others to trade, and this is one of them. We're still in it. We haven't broken clearly out to the upside. and we haven't had a clear failure to the downside to break out levels of support. And these are always areas where individuals tend to make a lot of mistakes, where traders tend to make a lot of mistakes one way or the other, because they just want to see price do something. They want to see price trend strongly. They want to be active with their trades. Maybe they just had a good run up with all the profits that they made while price was trending, and now they want to like continue to see that exponential growth. But if price isn't trending strongly and your default strategy is a trending strategy, then what you need to be comfortable with is realizing that this is not the optimum area for your strategy to work. Take a step back and breathe, right? And just breathe, because the biggest challenge to being a trader, most people think that it's making consistent profit. No, it's once you make consistent profit, it's keeping it, right? It's keeping it and understanding what areas of the market you're designed for, what areas you're not. This is why you'll quickly realize, if you do this full time, that anybody who is always presenting themselves as if they're capturing all the trades are one of two things: a liar. Well, they're one of three things: a liar, inexperienced, or they're on a hot streak, right? And if they're on a hot streak, that's not really something that any individual can follow, because there have certainly been times in my career where it didn't really matter what I did. If I pressed a button, I was going to make money, right? And then there's times in my career where it doesn't matter what I do, how much analysis I do, how good my setup is. Every time I press a button, I'm going to have a losing trade. And it's recognizing those two areas and not getting yourself either on one case exuberantly enthusiastic so that you don't see the signs of over risking, because that's usually the case. People will be on a hot streak and then they will over risk while they're winning, right? I often see people, I've said that before, I often see people lose more money while they're making money because they take too large positions than revenge trading, right? Revenge trading is often it's the boogeyman of like why people lose money, because they'll have a losing trade and then they'll increase their position size to make up for the loss, and then increase the position size to make up for that loss. And while I have certainly seen that and do see that, and that is a plague, more often than not, I'll see people, the devastating trades, or when people say, yeah, man, I was just on a really hot streak and then I put way much into this position, or I just got sloppy, right? And I ended up putting on positions all over the place. Kind of like if you are used to just trading on Bybit or one exchange and you make money that way, and then all of a sudden, you just decide to throw 30% of your account balance into DeFi tokens on Uniswap, and now you're holding it in MetaMask. And then you also decide to transfer another 20% over to another exchange. Now all of a sudden you've got three different things to monitor instead of one thing, and it's easy to get sloppy, right? And when you get sloppy, you stop making money. Consistently, anyways. You have trouble. Let's just put it that way. All right, so don't go chasing waterfall. It's also about, I think it's also about just acknowledging the way the markets work, right? It's a lot of practice to sit and develop a strategy that consistently makes money. But every strategy comes with caveats. There's going to be times when it works really well, sometimes when it works okay, and sometimes when it doesn't work. And the only difference between utilizing that system to consistently make money and not is really understanding those boundaries and barriers. All right, so this is the overall roadmap chart. We've pointed this out before. I just wanted to point out as well, kind of this failure area of about 6%, and that area stretches from about 99.79, right here, 10,200 down to 9,700, So I have that yellow line at 99.79, so about 10,000. So a pretty good indication of where our support is currently. Certainly one way to look at this chart would be a bounce and a higher low. But again, I think the overall structure and the thing that I'm keeping my eye on is whether this ends up being a lower high or not. That would be indicative. Got a creep. Revenge trading, Mike is not on fire yet, is why I haven't been around in a year. I feel you, man. S180XT, hey, good to see you, my friend. Damian says, I lost count of how many noob mistakes this channel has kept me away from. GBU Professor Wally, what's up, fool? Good to see you, my friend. Now let's talk about warm fluffies if we do end up breaking to the upside here. Next profit taking area, I would see if Bitcoin does continue with this price appreciation, we do get higher highs. It's going to be 12,800 to about 13,500, and then coming up from that 15,000 to about 16,000, about 15,800. Once we really broach that area, and really, not to sound like everybody else, but once we broach 12K in a pretty resounding way, that's a pretty strong catalyst for an acceleration of price, right? We've seen it before. Bitcoin does accelerate just rapidly. I don't see that exact same behavior here. I've been looking at this area of the market right here that kind of preceded. This is September 2015, and looking at how that kind of preceded that massive run up to December 2017. Now, a lot of things are different, and I don't necessarily see those signs yet. But if we do broke 12K, I just have to assume if we break 12K, I have to assume that the best place to be is long and ride the train really until it falls off. Now, there are better than not ways to do that, but certainly the position I want to be if we close a weekly above 12K is to the long side. Good to see you over there, Alex, on Twitch. Wow, words. Cornelio, good to see you, my friend. All right. With Bitcoin on the back burner here, I did want to look at the hourly here, though. So let's concise that. What I'm doing right now is I'm maintaining my hedge position. This is an excellent opportunity to add to one's hedge. I don't need to do that. I feel quite comfortable with where price is and what my position is. So really not a whole lot for me to do. So what I would advise people to do in this area is if they don't have a hedge, to move to a hedge, to move to USD, to move to US dollar tether or PAXG, or they can do 50% DAI, 50% USDC, which is something I've recommended before. So a lot of different ways to move into stability and just wait to see. This is a tricky area of the market to trade. So I'm not going to come down on anybody that's like, well, I feel more bullish than bearish here. I want to be long. Cool. That's great. Make sure that you have a proper position size on and you know where your invalidation level is and know where you want to take profit. And if you're more bearish than bullish here, which I certainly am because I'm looking at the fundamentals as well and kind of predicting this lockdown that we're going to get hit with, as well as the absolute calamity and chaos that will surround probably the entire world economic markets the further and further we move into this, right? So I'm pretty wary of anything that looks too obvious to be, if it looks too good to be true, then it's probably too good to be true. And just being cautious, guys. Being cautious is a good survival strategy. Thanks so much for the sub on YouTube, my friend. If you do decide that is within your purview. Mom's here too. Be lacing up the moon boots at 12K. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I have to. Wally says that we're going to release the CC Crew Mix Night version 12-inch single. Well, yeah, of course, man, of course. Next Tuesday at 9:30 for my daughter's haircut. Yeah, that'd be great, Lauren. Looking forward to it. Thanks! Exclamation mark. The exclamation mark is important. All right, let's see here. Andrew Munn's coming in. FX scalpers of the world unite. Yep, Jack pointing out March meltdown redux if we get another lockdown economic disaster. Yeah, and that's like the biggest, that's the elephant that I don't think anybody wants to talk about in the room. It's the only elephant I want to talk about. All right, with that being said, let's hop over here to Ethereum USD. Ethereum USD as well yesterday signaling for a long on this particular PTP system, and let's just go price is basically where we were, but let's be technically correct, which is the best kind of correct there is if you're a guy, and let's go see what that would be targeting us for. 405 as an initial take profit target, 360 for a hard stop loss, stretching up all the way to 440. So if you wanted to be pretty bullish and go for that 3x ATR extension, it'd be 440. And what's he saying? That's exactly what Alex was talking about for his profit target for Ethereum. He's wanting to see price at 440. Beyond that, we're not too sure yet. $9:30 a.m. You know what that means, guys? It means next Tuesday. I'm not going to be doing any trading in the morning. Lauren doesn't watch the show. I bet you I'm up on the flat screen down there at the hair salon, man. I bet you. Let's do, sorry. So let's look at Ethereum here on the weekly. We see a lot to like. Again, this is the Bitfinex chart. We could certainly get a little bit more historicity here. Parallax hasn't flipped to the upside here. We do see, even though our 200 EMA is not doesn't have a whole lot of data, our 55 is curling up as well, and we've had that nice clean 1355 crossover back here in June, which again would have got one in. As I often say, 1355 does not ensure that you're going to get in for the first half of any kind of bullish trend, but it certainly gets you in for the back half, and I would say it's done a pretty good job here. And again, 21 weeklies holding up pretty good. So Parallax hasn't flipped. We don't have a rising explosion level here on Wada Atari Explosion, and Minx has not yet confirmed that weekly crossover. But again, if I were to be bullish on anything here, I would expect Ethereum to overperform Bitcoin, just because of what we're going to talk about here in a little bit with Ethereum 2.0 seeming to be right around the corner. Daily time frame. Let's look at PTP here. Again, as I said, PTP signaling for that daily long as of yesterday. Could have gotten a better entry now. And if we look for some correlation here, again, my reversal indicators here aren't going wild on Ethereum like they are, like they did on Bitcoin. And I wouldn't even say going wild is really the accurate term. Let's see here. How well is bottom feeder done in this area? Not as well as Bitcoin. Trying to catch a few of these run-ups, not as well as Bitcoin. Again, catching this area right here, not so great. This area right here, because we did have another leg down, but it caught this area good. It caught this bounce to the upside right here. And again, it caught this area pretty good for this eventual run-up. But you would have had to sit sideways for quite a while if you bought up here, here, and here. Getting an average entry right around this area right here, right around the top of this red candle, and then pretty much having to hold that for like a week and a half until this nice bounce. But again, it was rewarded. And our Laguerre tops and bottoms is certainly signaling that we are coming out of oversold here on Ethereum. But I don't want to put on a position to the long side on the daily here for Ethereum, but if I had to choose between the two, it would be Ethereum on the daily. So daily, I still think that Bitcoin and Ethereum pull back here. The last thing I wanted to look at here, certainly on the hourly, with Bitcoin, and then that'll make sense because I'm about to zoom into Ethereum here on the hourly. This would be an area that I'd like to long. If I had to put on an intraday position, or if I had to scalp this, I would certainly scalp this to the upside, and I'd look for about 11,480 to about 11,500. This is on the Bybit chart right here. So about a $100 price move to the upside I'd like to see here. So again, profits could be made well. And again, I would have a stop loss probably right here, 11,330, maybe at 11,300 if I wanted to be super tight with it. But that would be the bounce I'd try to play. And if it failed, then I would have a winning position with my hedge and with my short that I put on with the daily and the weekly perspective, and I'd have a losing trade on the hourly. And if price does end up moving up, then I have a winning trade on the hourly, and I have a potentially better price at which to apply my short or my hedge, which are one and the same if you're potentially doing them correctly. So. And coming to Ethereum as well, does that make sense? Is that something that I'd like to do? Yes. Ethereum, again, a little bit less so. Bottom feeder on the hourly firing over here, looking for a movement up to 382 and validation at 372. And again, I see that kind of same double wicking structure with price moving sideways consolidation, getting a little oversold here. Not oversold like Bitcoin on the hourly, but, again, if I were to take an intraday trade, I would take the Bitcoin trade. If I were to take a daily, if I had to put a daily long on anything, it would be Ethereum over Bitcoin. But I think the best thing to do is long neither of them on the daily or weekly perspective, wait for the pullback, and then reevaluate here in about 2 to 4 days. All right, so let's look at, let's get our crypto bubblies going on here. And again, pretty decent day in the market. What do we see here? This is over the weekly. So Ren's up 41% this week. Rune's up 40% this week. Bitcoin Cash finally moving a little bit, getting up to 14%. NXM, Ocean, Numenair, UMA, so all of the kind of the DeFi loves over here. Yeah, Yearn Finance being the only one down at about 16.4% so far this week. Band up about 17%. Let's see, what else do we got here? BNB up well. Ocean, as I already said. Compound Ethereum, Tezos, Waves, Zcash, Link up 16.2%. 0x, Blockstacks, Go Blockstacks up 10%. Keep climbing, baby. So yeah, this is all pretty good. Pretty good DeFi gains. Sia Coin up 15% as well. So again, some of the good gainers, some of the good movers that we had seen just over the last few months, putting in good shows so far this week. And let's see. And overall, the daily is not super conclusive of this. We are having pullbacks on the daily for most of these, except for 0x, Golem, Bitcoin cashing up about 5%, Waves moving moderately. So not a fantastic day, but certainly a good week. Certainly a good week for the altcoins. And that's what I tend to keep my eyes on, keep my focus on. You know, what is the overall trend? Is the weekly for our shitcoins moving up or moving down? GB Wally, thank you so much for the $20, my friend. He says, I got into NFTs some time ago with my Kryptons. Saddened there is no Justin Wise tradable card. Although 4 to 5 other crypto YouTubers are there. Need CC representation. Am I shilling? Yes. Yes, I am. Tell you what. 2 Kyber Network USD on a chart. Okay. Okay, bet. All right. Well, I will get the scientists working on the Justin Wise tradable card NFT immediately, right? Right after they get the tube technology nailed down. No more pollution, guys. We're traveling in tubes from now on. Andrew Munns got his 100 pips a day strategy, keeps the poverty at bay. Good man. Nice gold silver short today. Big winner. Congratulations, my friend. Let's do KNC USD. And well, hold on. Before I do that, before I look at, you know, just shitcoins in general, I did want to look at a few things. Bitcoin dominance. I want to look at Bitcoin dominance here on the weekly. So the reason why I want to look at Bitcoin dominance is because I'd like to get a gauge of whether I think that altcoins are going to continue moving up, moving forward, or continue moving down. So the first thing that I want to point out here on Bitcoin dominance, which is a fantastic representation, or tends to be a pretty good representation of, yeah, that's what I wanted to ask Alex, but I didn't want to be rude. So the Bitcoin dominance moving down is a good indication that altcoin prices are going to rise, particularly if market capitalization stays flat, right? Or is on the rise, right? So again, rising market capitalization, and by rising market capitalization, I pretty much mean is money flowing into or out of Bitcoin. If the price of Bitcoin is relatively stable or flat, i.e. market capitalization is flat or moving up, and Bitcoin dominance is moving down, then that money is moving somewhere. It's moving into the altcoins, and altcoin prices are moving up. This is why we like to see altcoin evaluations when Bitcoin is broadly bullish and it's reached a level of consolidation. Data Dash, Crypto Bobby, TMI, and Omar Baum all have my Kryptons, and there's no Justin Wise. Now I got to play the why is no one talking about this? Because that's what we do in the comments. He's getting harder to derail. Yes, the ninja training, the focus, the sharp wit. You guys are amazing. Okay, cool. Well, let's go check out this My Kryptons thing, or just knock it down. Oh, I gotta get me a Hillary Clinton one. Oh, a Roger Ailes? Oh man, I gotta get me a Roger Ailes. Ooh, look, the googly eyes move when I move my mouse. You guys can't see that. I'm amused by small things. You know, you have to find your own entertainment in life. All right, so anyways, Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance to me looks fairly bottomed out. Now it's in a downtrend, so we should expect the price will continue in the downtrend and not expect a reversal. But what I do want to point out with this chart is that we have hit a nice bottom with a high peak of selling pressure right here, and price is rounding out, right? Price is rounding out. Either moving sideways consolidation before another leg down, or it's rounding out just like we saw the price of Bitcoin round out, and it's going to shoot for the skies, or at least push for a 50% retracement here, which is something fairly common. Or in either way, just raise its tendrils up to the sky, right? I.e. price moving up. Bitcoin dominance seems a little bit more prime, particularly with the weekly reversal signal from ISISpot, and here on the weekly with CM Laguerre's PPO, we are actually bottomed out and in the green. So I would like to see this actually pop to the upside, meaning that I have to have kind of a bearish take on altcoins, and you know, that's not going to make some people happy, but that's what I got to say. All right. And looking at market capitalization, certainly here on the weekly, this is total crypto market capitalization. This is generally almost always the same thing as the price of Bitcoin generally, excuse me. But with crypto market capitalization, again, I see the exact same thing. I see a pretty huge sell-off, the first huge sell-off that we've seen in such a long time. And I just keep focusing on that because that's something that you can see and point to, and it's important, and people will forget about it if you stop mentioning it every other day. All right. That big red candle. huge initiation of selling. Haven't seen that the entire market. The last time I saw a big red candle, price moved down for another 2 weeks. So far, that's not what's happened. I think price in the market is trying to figure out exactly which way it wants to go, which means I don't have the absolute confidence to put a ton of money into a position except to protect myself, i.e. hedged, i.e. short. Welcome to my life. All right, so with that being said, because I do expect Bitcoin dominance to actually move up instead of down here, however, it's totally possible that we do continue to move sideways. I'm going to have a slightly bearish to neutral tone when we look at altcoins. So with that being said, Kyber Network, USD, sir, as you asked. Let's look on, how far does the information on Finex go? Back to May of 2018. Okay, I like this. Kyber Network to the dollar. We are showing, oh, we failed that one, didn't we? But we've got 1, 2, 3 bottom feeder signals. On the weekly time frame, we are on a 7 of 9 with ISOspot curling up here. I do like this. We've had about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pretty bearish weeks. 6 really, if you want to count this one rejecting from the upside. We've come down and touched the previous point of resistance where we did get a perfected 9, and then we consolidated for 2 months before we pushed again to the upside. The bottom feeder signals, really nothing from CM Laguerre here. Let's take a look at our weekly EMAs here. Unfortunately, I do see our weekly EMAs trending down. The 13 is above the 55, and we just came down and bounced off the 55 weekly exponential moving average here. Okay, so now we have actually overhead resistance in the form of our 8, 13, and 21. So 1.11 to 1.17 cents acting as resistance here on the weekly time frame, or again, as our kind of consolidation area. I would really not expect huge moves out of KNC here unless the rest of the DeFi market moves. I would expect to see consolidation between these two areas for probably another 2 months before price breaks either way. I do think that this is probably going to be the floor of price, I would hope, for the short time being. 7 of 9 is the best Star Trek character. I feel like that's, so what that makes me think of is the show with Pirates of the Caribbean, right? So, pieces of 8, 7 of 9, pieces of 8. At least that's where my head goes. All right, so weekly looks like we're getting a little overextended to the downside. Means the most likely profitable trade is to the upside, but I'd be pretty cautious here on KNC USD. But why are we being cautious? These are shitcoin altcoins. Why not? Let's just go for the roof. On the daily time frame, we've had that 1355 crossover all the way over here, which did lead to this protracted downside. We've had 1, 2, 3 drives down. Okay. And we've had a push back up to resistance. So being kind of kept underneath that 200 daily exponential moving average as well, while our moving averages move down. And what do we see here with Ichimoku? I wanted to point out Ichimoku on the daily and the weekly, breaking down below the Tenkan and the Kijun here. And there's that TK cross under right there. So both the EMAs and the Ichimoku were pretty indicative of a bearish trend here on KNC USD. Let's see here. Not fussed about United States politicians playing tiddlywinks. You're darn right. Satoshi Z pieces of 8. Yeah. Sam Hader wants to check out the XRP chart for a little bit because he's a masochist. Sorry. Confusing chart is confusing. Cheers. No, we'll check it out. The Enterprise had an Android with unlimited data. Yeah, it's almost like T-Mobile. Okay, so kind of in a bottoming area on the weekly. Bottom feeder signals on the weekly, pushing price up to 126. I would not actually expect to see price move a lot beyond that because that would be kind of cresting above those EMAs as well. And I'd like to see some firm breakage of those. On the daily, we just came off a perfected 9 and pushed up, come off a perfected 8 and pushed up. 6 of 9. I really wouldn't take a long here, especially at resistance. But if I were going to try and play this pullback, then I want to take price to about 117, which is about a 12% trade. So there's actually some logic here for a long position. We're going to take price to 117. With stop loss below the recent low. It'd be about 3-to-1 odds. Yeah. Be a 6% stop loss, which is a little tight for altcoins. Normally like 10% would be the norm. But yeah, so here's about a 10% stop loss. should be a little bit more conservative. But then we'd really have to shoot higher to make that 127, which I guess wouldn't be too far out of line with what bottom feeder is suggesting. Yeah, actually, that would work out almost beautifully. Yeah, so if you really wanted to take that bottom feeder signal off that 7 to 9 on the weekly and really kind of jump into the reversal early and grab these lower prices, I could see the trade. I don't really like taking it on the daily, pushing up to resistance, but the daily isn't overextended either to the upside. All right, let's look down at the hourly here on Mr. KNC. This looks like liquid garbage. All right, overextended on the hourly, perfected 9, ISIS spot sell signal. Bottom feeder caught this middle consolidation area for this push to the upside. I would just wait. I would wait for tomorrow to pick up a position on KNC, and let's see what PTP says. Yeah, PTP wants to see price above 105, daily close above 105, and then we'll pretty much be there. MACD leader as a confirmer is positive. QQE mod as an initiator is positive. OBV oscillator is starting to trend to the upside, which is actually good. As you can see, money was flowing into this as it went down, and that's not sellers getting out. That's buyers stepping in and buying up these prices. So as you guys can see that on balance volume, as price is falling, OBV moving to the upside is actually a pretty positive sign. And I would like to see, now that we've reached this kind of stable area on OBV, if we can push above super trend at 105 as our baseline and get OBV positive, then I'd say things are actually pretty good. You can see IFT RSI getting you out of the shorts here, and then again here. So pretty good. As you guys can see, this IFT RSI really allowed you to just stay in and enjoy this bearish trend. If you were short KNC USD, take profit here, and then again, if you hadn't already, getting you out here. So really good job from the really good job from the indicators here. Really fantastic work. So that's a little. All right. So all that being said, if you want to take the long signal, I would utilize this. I would utilize about a 6% stop loss, and I would target that 127. Would make it. Excuse me. Either you can use the previous low, about a 6% stop loss around 94 cents, and shoot for 117. Or you can use a more reasonable stop loss down here at about 10% at about 87 cents and shoot for that 127, which would be in line. With a weekly bottom feeder signal. Other than that, I like KNC. If the DeFi market's going to have another push to the upside, then that's going to be the one. But with Bitcoin dominance looking to be in a reversally position, and with Bitcoin either about to dump or continue its ascension to the upside, which is, I would say, in the short term, not immediately good for altcoins. You can see that Bitcoin is actually rejecting today after about 7 days of marching up. And what are altcoins doing? Altcoins are pulling back with it. So I would be cautious. Alex Bowler, good to see you, my friend. Andrew Munn's answered, saying he's shorting longing contracts of Zao on TradeStation. MCGZ 2020 December contracts, 20-point move today. Answering your question, don't be mistaken. You can make a living on micro contracts. Yes, you can. Trimonet says, what are the candle number things? That's TD sequential. Bitcoin to 100K by 2023. No bias there whatsoever, my friend. Thoughts on BNB? BNB was moving up moderately, I think. Yeah, it's up about 7.5% this week. So right there with Litecoin and Decred at about 5%. Yeah, so just kind of like the more instantiated tokens, waves, kind of the more old school tokens. Up moderately, Bitcoin itself up about 5.5%, BSV, Ethereum up 7%. So yeah, not in the realm of like shitcoins moving up very, very quickly. BNB is just pretty stable, pretty solid. Didn't TradingView just add TradeStation functionality? Let's find out. We got paper trading turned on here. Figured we could have some fun with that at some point. In fact, let's see. There we go. Yeah, so this KNC USD on Bitfinex, let's say, let's trade. Create new order. So if we were going to what would be a position size for a $5,000 account? 1078. Okay, I like how I have to actually do the conversion. Fine. 1078 divided by the cost of the unit, which would be 0.997. 1081. So if I bought 1081 units with a take profit at 127 and a stop loss at, where's that? What did I say? It would be about a 10% stop loss. Let's do 90 cents. How about that? Yeah, boys. About 90 cents. And we'll buy that. All right. Paper trading, boys. So there's that particular setup. And then if I were to do the exact same thing again with less risk, so 1081. So let's just do 515 contracts for this one. And we're going to take price to 117. This would be the more conservative trade with that stop loss at, what did I say right here? What did I say? About 94 cents? Yeah, 0.94. Let's do that. All right, so now we've got that trade as well. Did that just, oh, it just abrogated the trade. Oh, okay. Yeah, because it's going to average them, of course. That makes sense. I don't really like that. I like to see two distinct separate positions. But as you can see, it has abrogated those trades. So we'll see what works out well there. We'll see if that long on KNC USD works out. Just like we should probably go over and see how that long on the hourly on Bitcoin is going to work out. This is going to be fun. You guys can keep us nice, solid, and honest. So if I were to go long here, I don't really have the buy signal for ISIS spot, but we're certainly petering out. And this is an area where I'd like to be long and not short. And I'll take that back up. So let's do, say we just buy right here. And we want to keep that nice and tight. We get that 2-to-1. About a 1% take profit and about a 0.5% stop right there. So we'll do that as well. Create new order. And we got to bring Quadrigo on so we can calculate our optimum position size. Let's see here. 10,784. So let's just call that 0.9. 5.9 of a Bitcoin with a take profit at 11,478 and a stop loss right here at 11,323. Yeah, so about a 203 pip take profit, 107 pip stop loss. Let's get that to, there we go. Just up that just a little bit. Okay. Boom. Best of luck, guys. Yeah, by the way, speaking of crypto.com, they sent me the card, and then they sent me something that says, "Hey, you've got your card now, so you should activate it." But I haven't received the card, and I don't see it being activated. So I've got like a stack of mail to go through like this thick, so it's probably in there. Like, let's go over here and see if it's here. Didn't see it, guys. Didn't see it. All right, so we'll see how these trades pan out. The long on BTC USD and the long on KNC USD. Remember, there's really two positions in that KNC USD, and we'll have to actually go in individually and see how they play out. Of course, we'll have the history of the orders here in the order section. It'll be fine. So this will be fun. All right, next. What? I feel like. Oh yeah, you guys have been missing out on a whole lot. Not fair to you, is it? There we go. I think it's just a little bit better, isn't it? Of course, no live stream is complete without at least 10 minutes of fucking with the setup. Okay. Don't do this at home, kids. Let's see. All right, so let's get back to the questions here. Actually, you know what? It's time to do some news. I want to give you guys an update on the news. So with that being said, and we're about an hour in, so it's 12:53. Let's go hear from our friends. By the way, let's just give you guys a boom shill warning. So we're gonna play our advertisement from Bybit. Time to get moving. It's been almost an hour. Take some stretches or a walk. All right. Okay, I'll get moving. I'll do some stretching during the break. You guys should do some stretching as well. But we're going to play the advertisement for Bybit. Bybit is the platform that I recommend trading on. It is the one that I trade the majority of my damage for. There is an affiliate link following the humorous advertisement. We will make, I think it's 20, I don't know, we get a portion of the trading fees that you would normally pay to Bybit. Instead, you pay them to us. So you're not out on any money. I'm always pretty bad at doing the Bybit thing, but I feel it's like pretty good to stay up front. That's why we post the link. We do make money off of it, but at the same time, it's money that you would pay to Bybit anyway. So if you guys want to check out Bybit, highly recommend it. It's in the link. Here's the thing. And then we're going to do a Bitcoin weather report, and then we'll be back for the news, and we'll be back to answer your questions in the Q&A section. So don't go anywhere, guys. Can't catch a break over on BitMEX with all the wicks? Try a better alternative at bybit.crackingcryptocurrency.com and rest easy for a change.
Well, Justin, I'm glad you asked because, boy, we have been doing some calculations. And we have been running through this over and over and over again. And I've been using many different time frames. I've been using the 13, the 14, the 1600 second moving average, the MACD, the RSI, the Bollinger Bands, the surge tanking, everything that you'd ever imagine. And guess what? We've been doing this over and over and over. And boy, is it getting good, because guess what? All of the calculations are coming out to is we are... I don't have much else. Sorry. Back to you. Over. Boy, is it getting good.
Cracking cryptocurrency. Home of the daily breaking Bitcoin market update. Crypto currently. Welcome to Cracking Cryptocurrency. Home of the daily breaking Bitcoin market update. Welcome to Cracking Cryptocurrency, home of the well, you know, you can't have everything in life, you know what I'm saying? So let me with duplicitous. There we go. Let me bring on, to the best of my ability, the team here. Oh, I can see that my audio input is still going in. Sorry about that, guys. So the chat mic. Hopefully, you guys can hear me okay. There in the chat, good, and you guys can hear me over here. Now let me add you guys your audio. Audio output capture. That speaker's out. All right, Jack, try saying something there, brother.
Yeah.
I think it worked.
All right, good. We're good to go.
We are good to go. Guys, your audio. Hey, there's Alex.
Yeah.
Chat mic. Hopefully, you guys can hear me okay. With a little bit of feedback.
Both of you guys with the echo.
Yeah, both of you guys with the echo. Let me add you guys your audio. Just wait till that's we'll just wait till that's sorted out. All right, so let's see here, Jack. The first thing I got here is the blue cartoon shilling Yearn Finance, making $1 million and vanishing into the thick of the night. So just to give you guys the highlights of this, the first thing we wanted to talk about, which this is just a public service announcement that you got to be a little careful about who you trust on crypto Twitter or crypto YouTube or crypto Telegram or crypto Discord. Crypto Reddit.
Yeah, definitely a cautionary tale from the swamp known as crypto Twitter. And if you take your hot tips and your advice from guys like this, which are completely anonymous, all you know about him is he's called Blue Kirby and he's got this blue avatar. And this guy basically comes out of nowhere to massive crypto popularity and fortune. And thanks, of course, to catching the DeFi wave, using mainly the YFI token, if everybody remembers the YFI craze from just a few weeks ago. Of course, Blue Kirby was an early adopter and strong promoter of the YFI token, and it said he collected most of his Twitter followers and made about $1 million along the way in just the last few months alone. But after promoting Yearn Finance and the Wi-Fi token, he ended up getting hacked. And not him, but he was related to another project that got hacked, which cost users millions, and that really pissed off a lot of the community because he kind of haphazardly got them on board a project that was still very much being tested. And he's since vanished, and most of his crypto followers are basically left sour after he's deleted his Twitter. So it's still unclear whether or not this anonymous Blue Kirby is ever to return. But if we've learned anything, it's don't trust randoms who suddenly blow up overnight on crypto Twitter shilling a particular coin.
Yeah, I'd say my big takeaway from this too is, I've been involved in the crypto community for going on 4 years now, pretty actively, and you see a lot of this all the time. You'll see people come out. It's very easy to gain a little bit of notoriety or popularity if you come out and you're just like full-headedly stubborn on one position or the other, right? Like price is absolutely going to rise, price is absolutely going to fall, this or the third. And it's pretty easy to, if you happen to be right, you have a 50-50 shot, you know what I mean? Of being right, then, individuals will tend to follow you. People tend to crowd around the microphone that blares the loudest, right? What you got to be careful of is, if you only hear one message, right? Like if one individual only says, let's say in the case of this year in finance, the price is just going to go up. Well, what's really good for me is to know, okay, so you believe this is going to happen, but what's the backup plan if this doesn't happen, right? To all these people following your advice or listening along or thinking that you know something that perhaps you're portraying yourself as knowing, what's the backup plan in case this doesn't work, right? So listen for that backup plan, right? If people don't have a backup plan, then likely they're not being too cautious with the funds that might be at stake.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, in how this article describes it, they say he used memes and perpetually bullish attitude to promote a rising DeFi token called YFI, right? So definitely memes and perpetually bullish attitude is exactly how we'd characterize these types of people on crypto Twitter. And what's interesting to note, though, that you're in finance and that whole YFI token. They were one of the biggest gainers, or like I think one of the biggest catalysts of the whole DeFi bonanza that we went through a few months ago. And the founder of Yearn is this guy Andre Krohn, right? And Krohn supposedly spotted this guy as one of the top shillers of YF, I guess, at this point on crypto Twitter. And believe it or not, he donated $400,000 worth of YFI to this dude in the top of the craze. And now, when you read later in this article, it kind of goes into how he's
paying him $7,000 a month or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I got the impression of, is that he was plugged in and influential, and obviously people pay you to shill stuff. There was a point where after, if everybody recalls, the DeFi trend came and kind of went, NFTs were suddenly the big buzzword. So he got into NFTs pretty early, and I guess was shilling those, including launching his own Blue Kirby NFT, which later was revealed that he ended up like taking some of the cash off of that. It was probably presented as he doesn't take a fat cut, but in the end, he took a big cut. So in the end, the man made off with over $1 million in the last few months, and go figure, he suddenly ghosts everybody and the community. I mean, you got rich off of NFTs and year in finance. I guess maybe there's a point where you got to pull the chute and get out.
Yeah. Says here, on October 4th, he left the Ethereum community entirely, deleted his Twitter account, left with approximately $1 million that came from selling YFI tokens and keeping Ethereum proceeds from the sales of his NFT thingies. All right, let's move on to the next story while I answer this persistent individual calling. And this is Ethereum 2.0 getting some nice bullishness on a smooth, dry run of the launch of their Genesis block on the Zimkin testnet.
Yeah, this is a bit of a follow-up to something we touched on just last week in the news about how Ethereum's Spadina testnet, which was designed to kind of simulate the Genesis conditions of the Ethereum 2.0 launch, how that kind of ended in failure, and this is their second quote-unquote dry run for Ethereum 2.0 Genesis launch. This is known as the Zimkin testnet. Again, you guys might recall from last week we touched on this. So it said that Zimkin's test has been so far good. Everything's like go, and I guess this article touches on the idea that Ethereum breaking up potentially the 390 range over the weekend was thanks to the good news coming out of the Zimkin launch. Any thoughts, Alex?
We're back.
All right, good. All right. Yeah, I just quickly summarized the success of the Zimkin test. It looks like Ethereum 2.0 might be here closer than we think. Zimkin is working. If it is legit, then it's the next stage in the roadmap, which is basically launching Ethereum 2.0 and the phase 0 at least, and the beacon chain. So I guess we're kind of approaching that right now. Could be here.
We talked about this last week, when I was doing the show from the road, that, this is an inevitability, right? We talked about the Spadina testnet and how, kind of some seizures that it had, but it's running well. The Medela testnet, I believe is what it's called, is still running. this latest, the Zimkin, this shortened testnet, it just giving people an opportunity to interact with the new blockchain, to actually stake, see what the functionality is like. And yeah, so what we're about 2 weeks away now after the successful test on the Zimkin testnet. We're probably about 2 weeks away for them to launch deposit contracts, and then maybe like 2 weeks away from them actually pushing the real Genesis block live. So this is an absolute inevitability, for good or for ill, as far as what effect is it going to have on price. We've talked about all this before. I think me personally, I'm going to, as soon as the deposit contract is live, you're going to see a ton of people rush in there. I think that that's what I'm going to do as well. I'm going to try to put 32 Ethereum on there to stake because there's going to be kind of a rush, a crowd for that, and individuals that are able to get in early on something that's highly successful, and something like Ethereum, I think, is highly successful. Getting comfortable with the fact that we're going to be transitioning to Ethereum 2.0 eminently. I think that's something that a lot of people haven't really considered strongly, perhaps, or maybe I'm wrong about that, but yeah, it's going to come, whether it comes with this or whatever mistakes it has, whatever bugs it has. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
One thing to consider is that the 2.0 is going to offer outsized staking rewards, especially for the earliest of stakers. So there's going to be a major incentive to bring people on board. At the same time, counterweighting that a bit is the fact that there's a huge risk by getting into 2.0. So there's going to be the risk takers who want the big initial staking reward. So yes, some degree of people are going to be greedy for that. Others are going to be very apprehensive, and it's hard. I guess what I'm saying is going to be hard to tell exactly how much of a rush for staking there will be for Ethereum 2.0, but expect exchanges to at least be offering some kind of IOU service, if not which comes with its own kind of insurance policy, so to speak.
Yeah, I never thought about that. Exchanges offering the proxy.
I think it's going to be surprising how interested people are in Ethereum staking, because just think of how many staff members. So I know, Jack, you're really interested in Ethereum staking, right? You really want to have a node, right?
Yep.
Justin, you want to have a node, right?
Absolutely.
I want to have a node. That's more than half the staff. Like, if this was a trade, like, how often are the three of us in agreement? Like, all of us in agreement on a trade?
Tuesdays.
Yeah. I think it could be really surprising. So I have noted that the Ethereum Bitcoin chart is looking rather bullish right now on the weekly. I think that that could easily translate into a large run for a few weeks on Ethereum as people buy in, and they want to get nodes set up, and then there's more interest as there's more YouTube videos posted showing people how to set it up, because otherwise I bet it's probably a pretty crappy process.
Yeah, it's probably going to be definitely kind of techy, but at the same time, Ethereum 1.0, when it launched, succeeded in capturing like a lot of the imagination, particularly like the Reddit crowd and all that. So like Ethereum 1.0 brought some kind of magic with it that like kind of grew it into like the big smart contract chain. Like the popular CryptoKitties was built around this in the community. In the early days, I guess, is one like so-called killer app. And so you can see 2.0 maybe is kind of going to reinvigorate things, right? Maybe a fresh, we'll refresh everything, maybe get the hype going again. And with it will come a bit of a sales pitch saying that like, oh, Ethereum is going to be the future of this. And right now it's only $400 a token, which means you can run your own node for 12 grand right now. That's going to be like, wow, I can still do this. I can still get in on the ground floor and become a node on this future world computer for only 12 grand, deal. I can see people maybe maybe biting into that whole narrative, but it's interesting, right? It's one thing for sure, it serves the purpose of decentralization. Like if like Alex said, if half the staff already wants to consider doing this, goes to show you that's going to be maybe a lot of node operators on the future network, right? Whereas being kind of like a miner on Bitcoin, now this is it's a little more difficult, right? To much higher barrier of entry. But
Ethereum, I would recommend too. I've said this for a few weeks now that the individuals that are interested in staking or just actually doing that, go download, the protocol, go get into the testnet, go see what it feels like, actually have some pseudo experience before the actual Ethereum 2.0 beacon chain launches, the deposit contract live, and you're kind of just rushing in there looking for the tutorial with everybody else. If you've done the testnet, if you have a little bit of advanced knowledge ahead of time, then you'll know what to expect, and you'll be a step ahead of the competition that's trying to get your slot before you. So,
Yeah, it's
highly
Ethereum
recommend it.
2.0 was so new. If you stake it wrong, you could lose your Ethereum.
yeah, you definitely for the advanced users to get into something like this, but
Yeah, you wouldn't
I'm
want to
sure
lose
it'll be
$10,000.
simplified. I imagine over time into the future, and I mean, but there's still already an extensive network of people obviously already familiar with this stuff. They're already, again, miners, for instance, already existing miners on the Ethereum network. To them, this is probably second nature, probably isn't too complicated. But even for the layman in the crowd who just wants to stake their bag of Ethereum, um, it'll probably still be eventually quite doable for those individuals. And then, of course, there's going to be the exchange and like custodial options. You can imagine that pretty soon Binance and all these other guys are going to roll out products where it's like you can stake your 32 Ethereum or pool your Ethereum into their staking pool and get like a proxy of that pool of that reward, right? So doesn't exactly serve decentralization as much, but it's good enough for most people, and so that could very well be a popular option, especially if it's kind of like
Well,
de-risked,
staking as
right?
a service is a nascent isn't it's a nascent product that people offer, but I think that's going to get more popular, like you think. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Ether says, can we make a staking pool? I'm fine as long as it's all automated. I have no problem, allowing the community to put funds together, but I don't want to have to every week do the math. So if it's automated, if there's some pretty easy software out there to do it, then yeah, I'm totally fine with that. So
Eventually, stuff like that will come out. There's no doubt about it.
I'll get the scientists working on that right after the tube technology and right after. Damn it, boys! There's something the scientists were supposed to do first. Came up earlier in the chat today.
They're suggesting that, at least the experts are suggesting that, like, once Ethereum is kind of restructured into this proof of stake, where like the main token has got this annuity for staking, from that will create like maybe like the master bond products that all the other DeFi products kind of fall under. So it'll be like basically it's going to like supercharge the current DeFi trend. Like when Ethereum itself is stakeable and able to produce dividends, it really going to maybe revamp how we even do DeFi, how DeFi, I guess, earns divs in itself, right? So they're going to stack this entire ecosystem off this ETH staking. And I think we're going to see a lot of like pretty cool products out there coming out, least of which is going to be staking pools.
I think I'm just going to read this text right here from the Trust Nodes article, which is good. It says phase 0 should begin in the first or second week of next month, opening up a new dimension to Ethereum from an investment perspective, as circulating supply might practically reduce because some Ethereans will be locking their assets. Just how many remains to be seen, but you think probably 500,000 or thereabouts in the first day, as if it does not finalize, 16,000 investors will be losing money due to being slashed. Once a few days pass without problem, however, then a lot more might be deposited, which might translate to a lot more being taken out from circulation, practically speaking. On the other hand, our new supply is going to increase by 0.22% of the current supply, but in phase 0, there can't be any transfers, so that new supply can't go to market until ETH1 is merged in ETH2 sometime next year, very optimistically speaking. And once the Genesis block is out, full focus turns to phase 1, which is storage sharding, adding capacity for second layer scaling. And scale. So sharding is still years away, but proof of stake we're going to have.
I'm sorry, I still can't get over how much sharding sounds like sharding.
Let's see here.
No, I have a. So there's what is the percent chance that this is not going to finalize and that you just like lose your $10,000 Ethereum investment?
I mean, I would say layman's, I would say 50-50, right? It either works or it doesn't. in reality, it's probably far more complex than that, but who wants to crunch all those numbers, right? You just say, well, if I throw 32 Ethereum in right at the gate, it's either going to work or it's not. Pretty much what it comes down to, right?
It's hard to argue with.
Definitely locked in for the stake, though.
Definitely locked in. I mean, unless they decide to do like a reorg and it doesn't work out and they give everybody their money back. I mean, Ethereum doesn't have any track record of doing that. So what about this $10 billion money manager putting $100 million of treasury into Bitcoin, Jack?
Yeah, this one's kind of interesting. This is, again, also kind of a continuation of something we've been following. You know how we've had Square buy like 50 million worth of BTC last week, and the week before that we had the MicroStrategy group that bought like 450 million worth of Bitcoin to add to their assets under management, or to their, I guess, their reserves, I should say, as the corporation. But yeah, so the list of firms purchasing Bitcoin on their balance sheet continues to grow. The latest addition is the $10 billion asset manager Stone Ridge Holdings Group, which announced today that Bitcoin would serve as its primary treasury reserve asset. And according to a press release from them, the firm said it would purchase more than 10,000 BTC worth about $100 million as part of their treasury research strategy. Purchase was facilitated by the New York NYDIG and a subsidiary of Stone Ridge. So another institution jumping in big. I mean, 100 billion maybe is not too big for institutions like this, where they control maybe or have like $1 billion worth of assets or more. Still interesting that this $10,000 level is where some of these corporations are looking to enter on the ground floor. Right, this is where they're buying in at. I'm sure they view this as a bet, but clearly in this decade Bitcoin is kind of legitimizing, and they're willing to maybe take that bet to some degree.
You know, what's more interesting here is them, you know, not just buying the Bitcoin, but that the Bitcoin is going to serve as their primary treasury reserve asset, right? So this is the same thing. That's honestly a little bit more insightful for me when I hear that. It's not just that not just the companies are buying into Bitcoin. It's that companies are buying Bitcoin with the intention of using this as their reserve. Like, this is the base of our reserve. And this is the second time we've heard that. I think MicroStrategy did the exact same thing, or said the exact same thing. I don't think Square said the exact same thing. But
No,
that's
Square didn't. That's why I was insulted by I don't know if you were there, but Jack announced the news about what Square had done, and I was like, screw Square. Like, this is a slap in the face. $50 million is nothing to Square. I was not impressed by it.
Yeah, it's not. But, you know, utilizing, you know, any company utilizing Bitcoin, actually more and more companies saying, look, you know, what are we going to use? Like, if you would have asked like 2 years ago, any company ever setting up a reserve, like, what's going to be the basis of your reserve? Well, it's going to be United States dollars. And just 2 years later, it's like, no, Bitcoin, maybe some gold. Can we get some Canadian dollars in here? Like, literally anything besides this United States paper. You know, so certainly sentiments are shifting very, very quickly on a very large and massive scale.
Yeah, you can imagine if there's like an economic disaster, and even these big corporations, big accounts get locked out of their liquidity. Having something like a corporate, privately controlled allocation of Bitcoin might be like your saving grace in some like total financial doomsday scenario.
Yep, absolutely. All right. Well, that's about it for that, guys. We'll just fade to black here. Fade to black here on the website.
I had nothing more to say about him. Yeah.
Oh, the crypto cruise ship. You want to talk about that?
You want to do that? Okay.
Yeah, let's talk about it real quick.
Yeah,
this is fun.
long.
Sort of exposition.
All right.
So yeah, and I gave her
Let's do
the
it.
crypto cruise.
The crypto cruise ship. You guys ready to hop on the Satoshi?
Yep, cruise ship named the Satoshi aims to become a hub for crypto companies.
See what we got.
So I guess
here.
this is some kind of cruise ship that I guess ports in Panama, and I guess trying to sell I guess the international jet set crowd of like crypto renegades to come buy a share on the ship.
Somebody say
Plans
crypto-
are it's going to be an exquisite hub for digital nomads, entrepreneurs, and crypto companies.
Yeah, so you can move there, move to the ship. The ship, I guess, could at worst can be on international waters, and so I guess you can make any kind of crypto company work if you're if you're out in Panama.
If you can't get the cruise industry to work with real money, might as well move to crypto.
They're all gonna die from COVID in like a week.
Right?
Right.
So
They should call it
they're going to
COVID
auction
Tuesday.
200 of a total 777 cabins to customers and residents from the 5th of November to the 28th. So if you guys are looking to like just get out of whatever country you're in, if you guys are looking to find a safe harbor, I mean, maybe this crypto cruise ship isn't so bad. $25,000 to $50,000, just cash out all your crypto, just get over there, hunker down for a year, and just wait. Global warming and the presidential election. Just go wait it out. You know what I mean? Go wait BitMEX out. Go wait Bitfinex out.
What's the maintenance fees on that unit?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
It's probably expensive.
I can't imagine if you're owning like a share of the ship and this crazy project. How much is it going to cost you to maybe keep this 30-year-old? I mean, this was supposedly built in Australia, former cruise ship, built in '91. And at the time, I guess it was some kind of like luxury flagship cruise. But here we are 30 years later, and it's being repurposed as like a floating tax haven, right? For that docks in Panama. Just that they're describing as a technology incubator hub. So all of us, all the Vitalics of the world, all fly down there to get on the ship, and they all work from there.
So they're going to take delivery. So the company Ocean Builders is taking delivery of the cruise ship on November 4th in the Mediterranean. It's being sold by Carnival. And yeah, these guys are all so this guy, Chad Elwertowski, is an American Bitcoin entrepreneur known for being a pioneer in a movement called seasteading, creating permanent dwellings at sea outside the territory claimed by governments. I kind of quite like this idea.
I think I heard of this guy, but I think he was busted at some point.
Lord of the Flies in the making.
Yeah,
I mean, that's called society, brother.
Fair.
Lord of the Flies is not just a cautionary tale about young boys on a cruise ship. It's like, are you going to get humans together to do any society at any time, anywhere? This is what's going to happen.
The important question to ask is, what's the drink limit on the ship?
Well, they said the cabins. Okay, the first sale, the cabins are tentatively being priced between $25,000 and $50,000. I mean, I don't know.
I wouldn't pay $800 to go on a cruise ship.
Well, but you own it, right?
Oh,
like
cool.
this is like a community. This is like a society. Like they're gonna post up outside
It's like
the
Victory Village, but for crypto people.
they're gonna post up outside
with your own indentured servants.
Yeah, the geography of so this is what is this Galt's Gulch?
I don't know about you guys, but I'm in.
Yeah.
I mean, 25, 50 grand gets you your own little condo on this little floating 30-year-old yacht. I mean, or cruise ship, not bad. I mean,
then they have a party with all the biggest crypto people and sink them and steal their.
I'm just saying, if you're developing a DeFi project and you got millions that you need, you just pulled the rug on one project, you're launching your new project. You already got millions from the first one, dude. Buy something on here and set up your next DeFi project from the cruise ship, from the Satoshi.
Oh, can you imagine trying to share that internet connection on the cruise ship in the mornings?
We got to pay for the better package.
Yeah. We're gonna need 5G transmitters on the front, on the aft, on the fore. A bunch of millionaires out at sea with very limited laws. Yeah, my kind of party.
It's a cash bar only.
Cash bar only. Well, we don't accept cash. It's all digital. Beep.
No, they only accept cash for liquor. They don't know what they're doing yet.
It's like Alexander Hamilton, can't even accept Bitcoin at Bitcoin conventions.
It's pretty funny.
All right, let's see here. Marketplace.
As long as I got that cash claw machine, I'm on the boat.
Yeah, we definitely got to get. Let's see here. What's the least expensive my Kryptons?
I mean, I like the idea, but I think they need to think bigger. You know, a cruise ship is not enough. We need to like buy a country or an island,
Island, that's what it should be, not a
and like we smart contract out the governance,
They
and
did
we
that. It was
sell.
Crypto Rico. We were going to do Crypto Rico,
maybe
right?
maybe this can be the start though, Jack, because this will be the transport that takes you to the island.
I think
Oh,
everybody was
jeez.
like all gung ho about Crypto Rico, and then Brock Pierce got involved, and people were like, maybe not.
Yeah,
Hey, look
maybe
at
one day.
Professor Wally's on the My Krypton's leaderboard. Look at you, you big dog over here. I see you. We got Bitcoin God over here. I think I've seen him in the chat.
Look, it's Anthony Fauci.
Yep. Yep. And
Galia?
you can
Oh, wow.
purchase him for the low price of 0.05 Ethereum.
When
Stay
has
home,
anyone
stay.
played Jeffrey Epstein yet?
Well,
Seems like
let's
it's
see here.
perfect collectible.
The island's got to be for sale, right?
Okay, it's not letting me search for Jeffrey Epstein, but I'm sure he's in here.
Yes, it's a brand new technology, so.
He's grandfathered in.
I don't know. Maybe we can buy a smaller nation, right? One that already has like an existing infrastructure.
How about
You know, we
Canada?
come in there, we move in.
Blue Box Territory wanted you to check out traditional markets. Maybe either SPY, Dixie Gold, something around those lines.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah,
All right.
Take a look.
So overall, I don't know. I'm pretty hip on this cruise ship, man. I'm gonna stay on top of this. I think that either it falls apart or it doesn't. Let's see. It's a very good idea.
Problem is the ship could like literally fall apart. It's from the 90s.
This is true. It's almost like Los Angeles.
Literally.
Hey, I don't live there anymore.
That was a good move.
It's so
Cut
much
and
better
run.
over in LA.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here.
Guys aren't gonna catch me in in the middle of Escape from New York. I'll be out of there already.
Indeed. All right, let's go take a look at traditional markets. All right, guys. Jack, thank you, man. You guys can stay on if you want. It's about.
So the dip. Do maybe have Justin run through the last bit of Q&A and we'll dip.
All right, sounds good. Let's get these charts pulled open. Let me change scenes here.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Whoa, I heard that transition. I finally did. Did it come early, late? Nobody knows. And I still have you guys here for the headset speakers. This is good. And as far as Discord, I think I have that as well right here. Yeah. So I can have Alex on here. Yep, Alex and Jason if they want to chime in on stuff. Opacity down a little bit and turn the gamma up. That baby. Boom. Just because. Completely arbitrary. All right. Dark Rico came late. Hey, man. Better than coming early. All right. When's the billionaire upgrade due out? You take your own SAT on board a ship. Yeah. I don't think they can stop you from taking Bitcoin anywhere. All right, let me ask. Whoa, hello. Before I look at traditional markets, let me answer Jordan Stott's question here from earlier. He says, "What fun father-daughter activities did I get up to while we were on the trip?" Honestly, everything we do. So my daughter's pretty cool, and I like to consider myself a pretty cool dad. So just basically stopping everywhere she wants to stop at, having conversations while we're in the truck about like what she sees, stopping to basically pet everything, any animal we see or chase after any animal we see, stopping at anything that looks interesting, is mostly pedestrian, man. But I think part of having an interesting life is taking what could be pedestrian and then finding out a way to enjoy it, right? Like if you just walk around in a good attitude, you're going to find uses for things that you otherwise wouldn't find. If you walk around with a negative attitude, then everything's going to suck. So it's hard to have a negative attitude around a 2 and 9/10 year old. So that's my secret for success.
I mean, plus Ileana is a pretty sweet kid.
Yeah, she's banging. She is awesome. I gotta turn maybe just your particular volume up. I turned the gain up like 10. So hopefully that's better. All right. What else? Yeah, Jason's Search Tankian joke is extremely funny. Blue Box asks if Blue Kirby has a PTP course. He does. Yep. They come in, they say, look at the EMAs, and then they're out. Beckham08 has a kidney for sale for $9.99 or an iPhone 12 Pro Max. It's not worth it, man.
What?
It's not worth it, bro. Kyle Mitchell, good to see you, my friend. Jason's going to start an OnlyFans. Yeah, we did start up the CC staff Christmas calendar. So if you guys are interested in that, you can purchase them for the low cost of an iPhone 12 Pro Max. Available on the website. TJO002 says link is dumping. Only the best says the world will not run out of toilet paper. Yeah, there's just nothing but bidets on the ship. Mike Maloney is in Panama. Think about it. 20% of Bitcoin supply on one boat, nuke it. Yeah, but nowadays most people are going to have backup plans.
Their life.
Yeah, it was a Carnival-owned ship, Philly. Sounds like pirate profiteering in Panama. I like it. You'll pay money to get off of it after a couple of months? Maybe. It sounds like worth it, man. Antarctica is our last hope. In 2012 Bitcoin conference, some guys were peddling this boat thing on the international waters off of San Francisco. Yeah. The dollar pound looks like a tasty graph right now. They have a helipad. You got Digital Bar, Gold, Dark Rico coming late. Spy Daily and Golfing. Thank you, Jordan. I appreciate that, my friend. Do I think Blue Kirby is really Crypto Kirby? I mean, I don't know. I don't have any evidence to suggest that or not. It wouldn't necessarily surprise me because Crypto Kirby is a con artist, in my professional opinion. Or maybe he's not a con artist. Maybe he just really sounds like a used car salesman to me. Like that Crypto Crew University. I don't know. I tend not to say negative things about other people, but no, I've never seen Escape Plan 2. I've been the star of Escape Plan 7. Blue Kirby was my character in Super Smash Bros. All right, Alex, you want to look at the spy with me, brother?
Sure. If I guess I'll look on my own screen at the same time because otherwise there'll be a lag time.
There's going to be some lag. Yeah, SPY looks very similar to Bitcoin here. You know, pulling down into that consolidation. We didn't spend nearly as much time there here on the weekly time frame. But yeah, we get that Minx continuation cross off yesterday's bullish candle, or excuse me, last week's bullish close. We have an unformed bullish candle right now on the weekly. Looks like it could be a inverted hammer candle or a I always call it a shooting star, where the shooting star is the actual pattern. It's
Today's candle is going to give us a time transformation short signal. It's an overbought territory
on the daily.
Yep, crossing.
Okay.
Crossing under, and there's all these gaps to fill underneath us too. I imagine that we'll probably, even if I would like to see us consolidate below these highs. I think the market there's no way the market can be so sure about the future. It's like, oh yeah, let's just all start buying up as much stuff as we can. Bitcoin is the same way. I actually I expect to see it more sideways over the next month than I expect to see up or down. I do expect to see some down. I'd like to see us move back down to there's a point of control around 335, 340 in that area. There's like a nice little order block I'd like to see retested. But you could draw out this area with a trend line where it's beginning to form an ascending triangle. Did
Yeah.
you see what I mean? If you zoom out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Were you talking about? I don't know where you'd place the.
I mean, like you draw a trend line from like July through September. Those are your 2 data points, those 2 bottoms, and then
Looking at this, what I'd like to say is that we're on a 7 to 9. ISIS spot's overbought here on the daily. I think you're right with that time transformation cross under. If price pulls back, the level I'd like to see hold is this previous resistance turn support around 342. Otherwise, if we just keep trucking up, then we're irrational, and kind of the best thing to do when the market's irrational is just hold on tight.
So, it's perfect area. Right.
I think the SPY and Bitcoin are moving just honestly the same. I mean, we see a little bit of difference. Bitcoin obviously spent a lot more time in consolidation. The SPY kind of parked right or started trucking right up here. Broke that 340 level, which was our previous resistance, and we've had 4 days above that, and finally a turnaround right now. TT cross under, either we pull back closer to 340 if one wants to take the long, but again, my overall consensus this area would be to hedge this area until we break our previous high. Same with Bitcoin. Yeah, and let's see here. I assume my feelings are going to be the same on the Nasdaq. Yeah, my feeling is going to be the same on the NASDAQ. Let's go to the weekly here. Yeah, this whole area on the weekly is overheated. And we haven't... I can defend the pullback in a bullish territory, take the continuation. I just don't like where we're at. If we were going to take longs, then, which I don't want to, on really any of the traditional markets, looking for like another huge leg up, then it would have been certainly on a more pronounced, in a deeper part of the pullback. Here on the weekly, we're just still right in that area, and anything can happen right now. I don't feel very confident about the NQ here. Coming down to the daily.
If we had a solid weekly close above that previous high, then I think that's longable. But I mean, we're still several days from this week closing out. So,
well, and that's what's happened just about every other time, right? Like, look at these consolidation levels. We get a nice weekly close actually above resistance, and then the market marches, right? We get a nice weekly close above resistance, and then we march, right? We get a nice weekly close above resistance, and then we march, right?
Yeah. Sorry, Philly. Platinum looks like crud, and platinum has looked like crud for a long time.
Let's look at the DIA so we can actually look at the SPY, or excuse me, actually look at the ETF. Looking at the Dow, yeah, I feel the exact same way about this as the NASDAQ, except for we have that beautiful 9 on the weekly here, and then just overall just sidestepping. Price hasn't price on the Dow has not picked a strong direction or given me any indication of wanting to really long this in a significant way. I do see resistance overhead of about 307. That's our TDST line. And every time we've broken those before, we tend to just continue marching. So if we break 307, that would be kind of a long territory.
The Dow looks less overextended than the NASDAQ and the SPY do.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that it really has going for it. But the only reason that is because it's been so far behind the others.
So yeah, I still want to. I still my recommendation is not to have long exposure here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
See. Looking at the hourly here, we've got about, let's see, about an hour till market close, give or take.
Yeah, hour and 20 minutes.
I would do, well, shit. I would actually listen. Looking at the hourly here, I don't really want to long this, but I wouldn't want to short this either. We're just right in the middle, coming on a 7 to 9. ISA spot's right in the middle. We're just coming over being overextended on the on CM Lagoya, and we've had pretty decent pullbacks every time, but we're right in the middle of that pullback now. Oh, let's see. We've had about a 1%. How much has our average pullback been? A little over between 1 and 2%. Yeah, between 1 and 2%. We're about 1% down right now. Yeah, I don't feel confident making any call in this market.
Dixie looking like it may be it may have sort of retested the previous consolidation area and finally be reversing back north. Obviously, as we've discussed previously on the show, if the dollar index is increasing, usually that's bad for speculative investments like the stock market, like cryptocurrencies.
Asset prices should drop if the dollar index goes up.
Yeah. But that does mean that hopefully our USD, Swissy, and some of our other investments are going to be doing well.
Well, so here's the last, I'm just going to mark out on the chart the last times that we've gotten bottom feeder buy signals on the weekly for the dollar index. Mm-hmm. And this preceded this massive run here, this preceded this correction, and this preceded this massive run here. And here we are again with bottom feeder on the weekly going crazy. Let's flip over to our trends here on the Dixie. We are down below everything else. Cool, because the only times this has happened, see here, how long on average do we spend below? 28 bars, 82 bars. Do not spend too much time below the 200 EMA before coming back up. Except for this trend right here. The pronounced one. So yeah, I still like this area for the dollar reversal. And if we fail from here, then what we can probably expect is something like this. A really long, pronounced downtrend. So either way, either we're going to reverse from here to the upside, which I think is the more probable case, or we really are beginning that really downwards long-term trend on the US dollar, which if that happens, heck, I mean, you could pretty much buy anything you want for the next year or two. You'd probably be fine.
Yeah, and price will go up because the dollar's going down.
Exactly.
Long some other currency, just get out of the dollar.
Get out of the dollar. Or no, like anything with the dollar on the back half of it, you know? Anything where it's the quote currency. Be good to go.
Mm-hmm. Philly says he wants to Philly, do you want us to pull up a 3-day chart of the platinum still or the Dixie?
I split the baby and do the 2-day. What's the 3.5-day chart? That's half a week, right?
That's 60 hours, isn't it? No. That's 84 hours. It's 3.5 days.
Yeah. No. 88. 72 plus 16 is 88.
Half a day is not 16 hours, it's 12 hours.
I think it's 16. You don't use 32-hour days? Come on, man. The Dow, huh?
3-day Dow.
Bullish trend, continuation on the weekly, continuation on the 3-day over here on Minx. Parallax flipping bullish. Wadatar actually giving you a long signal here on this 3-day. Let's see here. Bottom feeder signal pushing up to 294, which would be a new high. No, it wouldn't be a new high. It would be a higher high. Yeah, it would be a higher high, just a little bit over this previous high where we reversed on that 8 of 9. 3-day consolidation. Yeah, so I mean, which makes sense, right? Where are we at? We're right back in the area where we failed. There's a lot of sellers in this area who are trying to capitalize on the fact that prices return back up to their price where they're probably underwater. Anybody that bought here is underwater, has been. The price is coming back up, taking the opportunity to get out. Makes it a logical area to short. Look at that bottom feeder signal on today, though. That's one of those weird ones. That's one of the bottom feeder signals that tries to catch, you know, a movement to the upside. Of course, I haven't back tested bottom feeder on the DIA on the 3-day. So full disclaimer there. That's a short bear trap, I reckon. 149. All right, let's look at 84 hours actually, bruv. No, I'm gonna do 88. I feel like that's a better number. Going with it. Locked in. All right. I've got
618 hours.
618 hours.
Of course. It's a fib number. It's got to be good.
All right, here we go. Not letting me do it. That's 618 minutes. There we go, 618 minutes.
Phil, stop backseat driving.
He's doing some backseat charting there, isn't he? Well, I'll tell you what. 618 on the minute. It's time to get moving. All right. It's been almost an hour. I got to make this thing a little less pesky. Tell you what, this thing tries to buy up every dip on the 618-minute chart. I'll have to do some research on this one. All right, we're getting a little wacky and off the rails, bro.
Well, bottom feeder certainly failed to hit every branch of the tree on the way down right there.
Every branch of the tree on the way down. Here it did pretty good. Here. All right, so we need to start getting out of here. Tomorrow we will
pull up precious metals real quick just for them. I know Philly wanted platinum and there's gold and silver too. Or gold's been requested.
At gold. Weekly time. I got to get rid of that 618 minute. That thing's going to let me get off the chart. All right. Weekly time frame on gold still coming off that perfected 9 to me, and that reversal signal from ISA-spot. Overall, prices just trended downwards and sideways on the weekly time frame since that has happened. So maybe forming a little bit of a bull flag here, but I'm not really feeling it. Certainly not till we break to the upside or form some form of higher high, because so far we have a lower low, we have a lower low so far and a lower high. So not overall fantastic. Falling volume as well as we move into this, which falling volume is always bearish to me. Still overheated here on the weekly. Let's see what trending's looking like for me. Yeah, coming down to that 21 exponential moving average. So if we see out of gold what we saw out of the indices, and if we see out of gold what we saw out of Bitcoin, then what we're going to see is actually a push up off the 21 exponential moving average. But again, more of the, that is certainly the riskier trade to me. So I would do, if I was going to long based on the pullback to the 21 EMA, I would use that 21 EMA as my invalidation area here on the weekly, and I would just shoot for a retest maybe of 2000, 2010. I mean, you could move up to maybe 2000.
I would really love to see gold pull back more here.
I would too. Yeah, I would too.
The market's just, I don't think the market doesn't feel like it wants the safety of gold right now. That's not what I'm getting out of the market.
Let's go to the daily and see where gold's at, if we're oversold on the daily. And we came off this pretty steep plunge here where bottom feeder called this trade here as well. That bottom feeder signal is complete. Bottom feeder ISA-spot giving that buy signal right here. CM Laguerre kind of pinged out and bottomed out. TD sequentials inconsequential here. Yeah, I mean, I could see we're not really oversold on the daily. We were, and we kind of pushed back up to the median here. Again, this looks just like, I mean, every chart kind of looks the same. Like we formed that low, we formed a little bit of a higher low, and then we kind of broke above resistance, and now we're pulling back, right? I mean, Bitcoin looks the same, Ethereum looks the same, the Dow looks the same, fucking gold here looks the same. I still think the risky trade is to the upside, but again, I think if we were going to play this just like we talked about playing Bitcoin earlier, right? Although this would be more like Kyber Network, honestly, because of the time frame. Then if you're going to go for a long, I would use this previous low and just shoot for a trade up here into the middle of this consolidation area, maybe around 1950. 2000 is kind of pushing it for me because that's kind of stepping up into the highs. But other than that, I just wouldn't take any action on gold. Yeah. Go to... sorry, Alex, did you have any thoughts?
No, I think you covered most of it.
Go to silver here. Silver, we do have an active weekly bottom feeder signal pushing us up to 2665. Keep in mind we are still overheated on the weekly here, and we are coming off of that ISIS spot sell signal here on the weekly, off of that 9 on the TD sequential as well. So about halfway through a red count right here on a 5, we certainly can see and probably will see a little bit more downside. But again, coming to the daily, what do we see? The exact same fucking put in a low, put in a little bit of a higher low, and break previous resistance and pull back right now. Formation that we've seen on just about literally any chart.
Mm-hmm. I think I'd like to see it pull back to maybe $19 or so.
Big pullback. Yeah, 1933 would be the invalidation on that weekly bottom feeder signal. So I could actually see price moving up to 2665, still forming that lower high and then continuing to the downside. That's what I have to assume is going to happen so far. And again, same thing, weekly 20. If you guys want to pull back target, weekly 21 exponential moving average has supported price on every asset that we've seen. Bitcoin, gold, Ethereum, the friggin' Dixie, the Dow, the NASDAQ, 21 exponential moving average magnet. And then palladium, I believe Philly was asking for as well. This actually doesn't look too crazy. Big sell-off, price moving sideways, still a lower high on the weekly time frames, still tightly in those bands. 13 still above the 55, so we've got a weak trend to the upside. I would actually like to see palladium pull back here to about 2030, just looking at this chart. Looking at the daily, what do we got? Yeah, coming off of a 9 and ISIS spot being almost overextended. And we can see, we can see the follow through. Big sells coming in here on the daily. I don't think we're in an area where we want to long that just yet. And platinum, yeah, comment on platinum. I have my alert set for platinum and it hasn't gone off yet. Got a weekly bottom feeder signal up to 952 and validation at 767. Overall, just in this consolidation area that we've been in for quite a while. I would play the range if we get actually closer to 700, up to 900, but I wouldn't take a trade here in the middle. All right, that's about all I got, guys. I gotta get out of here. I got some things to do. I got to be with Alex here in about an hour. And say goodbye to all you wonderful folks. We'll be here tomorrow. Alex, any kind of parting words? Jason, any parting words? Jack, any parting words?
Guys, don't rush into anything. This is a very important turning point in the market. Really going to determine essentially if the market's going to break down from here and go on like a very, very, very damaging run south, or if we're gonna break up. And we don't have confirmation for either of those things, so trade cautiously.
Well done. All right, thank you, Alex, so much. I'll see you tomorrow, my brother.
Okay.
Cheers, man. All right. And here we are, back with this. Thank you guys so much for watching for another exciting episode of Breaking Bitcoin. Of course, I've been your host, Justin Wise. Thank you so much to the support that we had on the show. Thank you so much for Alex, Jason, and Jack coming on and giving their thoughts on today's news. If you guys have any comments, questions, sarcastic remarks, and or death threats, please leave them in the comments section down below. Whatever you do, make sure to check out the socials right up here, especially Discord is the best place. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and smash the like button because that helps us out more than you realize. And we will be back with more analysis, more thoughts, more trades, more signals tomorrow at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. We'll see you then, everybody. Trade safely, and remember, we're all in this together.